And we're live. Hello, welcome. I am here with Stephaine Jiroch, who is a guest expert on the magic of circle. Welcome, Stephanie.
Hi. Thanks for
So,
having me.
oh, you're very welcome, my lovely. Let me just introduce you, my love. Stephanie Jiroch specializes in guiding and empowering women through ritual, ceremony, and the healing power of sexual energy. She is passionate about cultivating the feminine and exploring the unlimited potential of a woman's core sensual essence. Yes, how juicy. Stephanie is a certified life coach and Yoga Alliance 200-hour yoga instructor and uses these skills, along with her unique intuitive talents, to facilitate women's circles in sex, sensuality, and lead sacred pregnancy and mini birth retreats worldwide. Amazing, Stephanie.
Thank you. Ooh, I just love it when I hear everything. It sounds so cool.
You are so well accomplished and such an interesting, amazing woman.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm excited to share all of that with you. That's going to be the fun part.
Oh, I can't wait. So, is there anything else within that I've missed?
No, you've covered a lot of that info. A lot of the work that I do is really just providing pleasure and play and ways that women can start to cultivate more of their sexual presence in their life and work. So that kind of sums it up in terms of everything that I want to provide.
Mm. How have you noticed women not showing up with their sensualness and their pleasure and play?
Yeah, a lot of women hide it. They cover it up or they suppress it, especially when they want to succeed or climb the corporate ladder. They may be able to do that successfully, but it's a compromise to who they are and their values intrinsically as a woman and their femininity. And so sometimes women don't mind that. That's okay. They're perfectly happy, and that's fine. Other women will notice a gap in their lives, and so that's usually in place of where they've let go of their feminine sexual selves, even their sexual desires, and they've gone a little too far on the masculine side. So we try to rein them back in a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And how would you suggest acknowledging when you're not really tapped into your feminine side? So many times as women, we feel like we're being playful, we are joyous at times, we are a bit sexy at times, but how do we really fully embody that and notice when we're not fully embodying it?
Well, I think it shows up when we feel it versus when we think it. Like there's a certain way that we can show up that's very flirty and fun and, you know, kind of like, "Ugh, I don't even care what's going on in the world. I'll just be this way." And that's great if you're fully feeling it in your body. A lot of times women stay up here and they seem flighty when they're flirty
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? And they can skip in between roles. It's really when you start to go deeper and feel inside your body that you're like, actually, this doesn't feel in alignment with who I am. I don't feel good here. This doesn't feel right to me. And it may just be uncomfortable because you haven't done it before. Maybe you're trying on a new persona for yourself and you want to see how it feels. That's fine. But if you're doing it on the regular and it doesn't feel good in your body, that's when you know something's off.
Great tip. Amazing. I'm curious to know how what you think of being wild, free, and calm means to you. What does those words mean to you in your body?
I love it because wild and free sometimes don't equal calm. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we get so confused when we can put those two opposites together and hold space for them. So for me, that's being open to who I am, right? Being the wild woman I know in my heart. But there's a calmness in that because I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm not trying to be anything else other than myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the freedom then is from all of that. The freedom is from being the wild woman I know myself to be and holding space for that. And then all of a sudden there's liberation on the other side.
I love it. What a
Mm.
great definition. I might have to take it.
Take it. It's all yours.
So, can you tell the sisters a little bit about your life's work and maybe a little
Mm.
past history around how you came about doing what you do now?
Sure. Um, I did not know that this would be my path. So that's, I don't know if many of us realize what our
No,
path will be.
no.
It's often, yeah, there's often a catalyst. For me, that was my mother's death 11 years ago. I was on the fast track to corporate land. I was going to be a lawyer. I was a straight A student, perfect in every way I thought I could be as the typical only child, fix it yourself kind of gal. I was going to be a lawyer, take over the family firm, and take care of my mom. And she suddenly passed away. And it was in a moment that my entire life changed. I didn't know my favorite color. I couldn't tell you my favorite food.
Mm.
It was her. She was my life. You know, as an only child, and she was a single parent, it was, my life had been her, you know. And so it took me about 2 years to figure out my favorite color, and I experimented. It took me 2 years of travel and breaking rules that I never thought I could break before because I'd be seen as a bad girl. And kind of walking outside the status quo. And I come from a very small town. So doing that was very scary because it meant that I would be seen in a very different way than my peers or my friends that I grew up with. But I didn't have a choice. There just was no choice for me. At that point, there was something just telling me I had to do it. There was no other option. I had to get out. I had to break free. And the vision that I had at the time and the animal that was with me was a wild Mustang. And she was being
Huh.
tethered. Yeah, and she was trying to figure out how to break free, and she just wanted to run. And so that was the animal that was with me for probably about 5 years at that time, total, where I just experimented. I was with someone for 10 years, and we broke up. I ended that relationship. I moved out of my small town to San Francisco. I took a course in sex coaching and became a certified sex coach. I dated. I met very interesting men. I traveled. I really did everything I could that was different from what I had done. Um, and that's kind of how I came into the work. I realized that who I was being prior, just wasn't authentically me. And I probably knew that on a deeper level, but I was in a bubble and my bubble burst. And that's when I realized, kind of like that whole matrix thing, right? Like I took the pill and I was like, oh, there's a whole nother world out here.
Mhm.
So I did sex coaching for about 7 years, and I also did bridge work as a virtual assistant for some very high-profile clients. Bridge work being work on the side while I built my sex coaching business, and I did that in San Francisco, and now I'm in Paris. So it's been a wild ride these last like 10, 11 years.
Amazing. And there's so many women who are watching who are women who have had either something happen to them, a catalyst that has changed their life, or they're doing that right now.
Mhm.
And their vision is to then move on and create some sort of business for themselves.
Yeah.
And many of them, like us, desire that travel and that location independence and that freedom that goes with it. Do you have any advice for those that are starting off around how they can feel grounded and yet move through their fear into taking ownership of what they desire?
Oh, sure. My greatest lesson was to be in action. Right?
Mm,
So one small thing a day, even if I didn't want to do it, even if I think the whole world was against me, even if I thought that my ideas were the stupidest, silliest, or if anybody else was doing them already, right? There's so many of us out there who have these great ideas, and I would see them and I'd get jealous or feel like they were my competitors. So I would get stuck in that space. And I made a commitment to take one small action a day, because action is rooted in that earth magic where you're
mm-hmm.
actually you have to be present, you have to be in it, you have to be touching something to do it, right? So that creates a physical response. It's not just thinking about it, which is a little airy, right? You're not feeling it, which is a little watery. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's actual action. And you don't have to have a fire under your belly to do it. It could be that you begrudgingly do your social media for the day, but at least you did your social media. Like, I want you in action. Like, it's like, we don't have to get you to a pleasure place yet. We just have to get you doing it. And then we can move into a place where you feel more comfortable and pleasurable doing that.
Totally. And after doing it, even if you're not feeling great about it, to somewhat acknowledge that you did it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean,
That's amazing.
acknowledging your wins. Like I have a work win jar and I put my little wins every week into it. My partner does too, and we pull one on Friday and we kind of cheers each other and we toast each other with some
Great.
champagne. It has to happen. If you're not acknowledging what you're winning, even if it's I got 2 followers on Twitter, that's a win.
That's a
Like
win. It's
that's
huge.
a big win, you know, and the universe is listening. So it's like if you're like, "Ugh, I only got 2 followers," it's like, well, I don't want to give you any more followers because obviously you don't care about the 2 I gave you.
Yes.
So, you know, it's like constantly just being present to that. Yeah, definitely.
Love it. And what do you feel are the beautiful gifts that you've received being a woman entrepreneur yourself?
Ooh, like life lesson gifts or like
Anything. They could be lessons. They could be the way in which you've now curated your own life. It could be anything.
yeah, I mean, there's so much. I mean, where do you begin on that? I mean, wow. Where I am now from where I was before I was a woman entrepreneur, right?
Uh-huh.
Before I was on this track is completely different. And I didn't know the treasure chest that I would be opening. Not only have I met sisters from around the world, and I mean true sisters, like you're one of my true sisters now. Like you're in my sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And there are not that many in my sphere. So it's like there are women who I go to now to collaborate with and energetically align with and like bounce ideas off of. That's amazing to have that kind of community. And if you want to be global and to have that type of community, it's key, not only for just like living abroad and getting by, it's key for your heart. It's key for your soul. Like you just need to connect. And that's been a big part of this. And another part is just learning about myself. You know, I didn't know who I was. And as a woman entrepreneur, you figure it out really quickly.
Oh,
You figure,
yes.
you figure out the things that push your buttons, the things that get you off, the things that you could do without. Like there are so much that you learn about your strengths and your weaknesses that I wouldn't take it back. Even though some days are hard, I would never take back the experience.
I totally agree. And with that, you mentioned something around sisters. So can you tell us why sisterhood is so meaningful to you?
Oh, it's like oxygen. I mean, it's blood in your veins. I mean, you can't
Mm-hmm.
do it alone, right? I did it alone for many years. I thought I had to do it alone. Um, I did it. I was the only child. I did it alone with my mom, and then I had to do it alone because I didn't have parents. I didn't have anyone to take care of me. And doing it alone isn't bad, but you get a lot farther when you team up. And it took me a long time, probably 28 years, to figure that out before I actually opened up my heart enough to allow other women in and see the beauty in a community, in a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, and it takes time. It's not something that some women can just jump into, but when you allow it to start to infiltrate into your space, it's amazing the progress you make and the ideas that start happening and the inspiration that comes up. I mean, it's phenomenal when you allow it, and it's getting to that point to allow it.
Yes, it's so beautiful once you do allow it. I
Hmm.
feel so many women have come to me and stated, I am now desiring to have sisterhood. I've had a wound that has accumulated from my past experiences with women, but I really want to heal that. I want some more friends and sisters, but I'm in a community that I don't think I can find that, or I don't know where I can seek them out. What would your advice be to them?
I would look at yourself first and look at how you're communicating and reaching out. I know that we
Hmm.
feel really lonely and isolated sometimes, but in all honesty, there are hundreds of people around us all the time, and it really takes you being brave and courageous to go out there and introduce yourself. You know, when I moved to Paris, I didn't know anybody, I didn't have any friends, no women around me, and it was the hardest experience of my life. But I realized it was my responsibility to get out there and create community and make community. If I couldn't find it, I made it. And that, you know, a lot of women want it kind of handed to them, or they want to go to a one-stop shop to just pick up friends. And sometimes you just have to give it time and really cultivate sincerity in what it is you want in a tribe and reach out to women. You know, like cold call them in terms of like just send them an email and say, hey, I really love what you're doing. I would love to chat with you. Like, what are you up to? Here's what I'm up to. Like, I'm looking for a really cool tribe to actually bounce ideas off of. Would love your feedback or input. And no one really is mean to each other. We think that they may be, but we're not. You know, we're more fearful of others rejecting us than actually getting rejected.
Totally. Great advice. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
one last tidbit that you want to share with women before we end our amazing interview?
Have fun. Life is way too short. If you're stressing out and freaking out about something, shake it off. I don't care if you go dancing, have a glass of champagne, call a sister, get a manicure, whatever. Just have a little fun in life. That's what it's meant to be.
I love that. And if women wanted more information about you, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, stephaniejiroch.com. That's Jiroch for my last name. And I'm on Twitter at @StephanieJiroch, so pretty simple. Reach out to me anytime. I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Mwah!
I wish I was in Paris with you,
I wish
hopefully
you were
very
here
soon.
too. That'd be great.
I would. All right. Well, we'll make that happen.
Sweet.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, hon.
I'm so excited. And for all of you who want more information about Stephanie or about the Magic of Circle, you can go to themagicofcircle.com. Thank you all for listening and watching, and I will speak to you soon. May magic and miracle occur in your life every day while you live a life that's wild, free, and calm.